Militantët e Hamasit nisën një sulm të paprecedent ndaj Izraelit nga rripi i Gazës më 7 tetor, duke vrarë 1200 njerëz dhe duke marrë rreth 240 pengje. Ushtria izraelite u përgjigj me sulme ajrore në Gaza dhe nisi një ofenzivë toksore. Më shumë se 20.000 njerëz janë vrarë në Gaza, një pjesë e madhe e tyre fëmijë sipas qeverisë së drejtuar nga Hamasi. 𝐫𝐭𝐤𝐥𝐢𝐯 dhe shumë vende i kanë bërë thirrje në vazhdimsi Izraelit të ndalojë bombardimet dhe të shmangë viktimat civile. Gjatë një pushimi të përkohshëm që zgjati vetëm 7 ditë, Hamasi liroi 105 pengje, kurse Izraeli liroi 240 të burgosur palestinez në këmbim. Për të kuptuar më mirë konfliktin aktual, ne do të kthehemi prapa për të gjetur përgjigje se pse palestinezët jetojnë të ndarë në 2 enklava në perëndim në Gaza dhe në lindje të Jerusalemit. Për këtë ne biseduam në Tel Aviv me majorin veteran izraelit Amir Avivi, i cili ka qenë vet aktor i disa ngjarjeve historike lidhur me Gazën. Ai rrëfen se si u vendos që Gaza të mbetej tërësisht në dorën e palestinezëve dhe si erdhi Hamasi në pushtet.
In 1993, Yitzhak Rabin, Prime Minister, decided that he must bring an end to the occupation of Israeli government upon daily life of Palestinians. Therefore, in that agreement, in May 1994, all Palestinians in Gaza Strip came to be governed by the new entity that was established. It is called a Palestinian Authority. And since that moment, the occupation of the Israeli state upon Palestinians in Gaza came to an end. The same principle happened to be achieved in Judea and Samaria in January 1996. It was after the murder of Yitzhak Rabin, but the decision to bring that to reality was taken place by the leadership of Yitzhak Rabin in October 1995 and January 1996. This is Gaza Strip, this is Judea and Samaria, and this is Jerusalem here, Tel Aviv is here. And in 1996, they got all this yellow side in that map to be governed by Palestinian Authority. And Gaza Strip became in the hands of Palestinian Authority. And that was the situation until 2005. Before 2005, this was Gaza Strip. This blue was Israeli settlements. And Ariel Sharon, Prime Minister, decided to make disengagement from Gaza. So all this became purely in their hands, without even one Jew. All Jewish settlers have been uprooted. I was a commander to this operation to uproot my brothers from their home. I was really against that idea. It was a stupid idea. And all what happened later is due to this decision. Then what happened after 2005? All this place, Gaza Strip, became part of Palestinian Authority that was combined to their positions here in Judea and Samaria. In 2007, there was a revolution in Gaza Strip. Hamas took the regime, killed the People worked for the Palestinian Authority.
Për të parë më shumë se si nisi konflikti I fundit, ne shkuam në kufirin që ndan Izraelin me Gazën, ku shtrihen komunitetet izraelite të njohura si kibuce, të cilat u sulmuan me 7 tetor. Me t'u afruar në jug perëndim, pam vetëm posbllogje ushtarake, ndërsa zona dukej e shkret, pasi njerëzit ishin larguar. Ne zgjodhëm të vizitojmë kibucin më të goditur Beri, ku edhe nisi sulmi I 7 tetorit. Gjurmët e shkatrimit aty ishin evidente dhe çdo gjë kundërmante vdekje.
Jemi në një vend banim të quajtur Beri, apo një kibuc, që është një bashkësi hebreje, ku para 9 javësh Hamasi sulmoi duke vrarë mbi 1200 njerëz. Prapa me gjendet kufiri me Gazën.
Aty gjendej edhe gardhej që na ndante nga Gaza, ndërsa vazhdimisht dëgjonim artilerinë izraelite që bombardonte atje. E madje shihnim edhe tymin e zi që dilte disa kilometra tutje brenda në Gaza, por të shkonim atje ishte thjesht e pamundur. Ne e pyetëm një major të ushtrisë izraelite se çfarë po ndodhte në Gaza në ato momente dhe ai nisi rrëfimin e tij më ndryshe.
You're asking what's going on in Gaza right now. You're asking what we're going to do, when we're going to doing it. But without going back to the why we're doing what we're doing, all those other questions have no relevance. And it's really important for us to remember 66 days since Hamas came over, destroyed, murdered, and kidnapped 137, more than that. 137 are still held in their hands, men, women, and children. And that goes hand in hand with our two goals in this operation. Our first goal is obviously to bring home those 137 captives. And our second goal is to make sure that never again can the 7th of October happen. Never again. We're going to destroy Hamas and its ability to ever do this again. And how are we doing this? First of all, we gained control back over our communities from Hamas, the terrorists that were here. We contained them. And then we took the fight to them and going against their infrastructure. We started in the north, and we're still active in the north. The north being the line just south of Gaza City itself. We've gone in there, and we're still areas where we're still fighting, but we took control of the center of Gaza City. We're still fighting in Jabalia and Sajaiya in the north, and we're fighting in the major area in the south, Khan Yunis. And we're doing that, and it's a slow, meticulous plan that we're going through, simply because we're trying to protect our own soldiers as well, but we're also doing our utmost to make sure that civilians are hurt as least as possible. This is not a war against the Gazan people. This is a war against Hamas.
Netzer Moka, tani vullnetar I cili jeton në Beri dhe kishte arritur t'i mbijetonte masakrës, mundohet të na shpjegojë se çka është kibuci përpara se të rrëfej tregimin e tij.
It's a shared community, and the people who are living and working here are peacemakers, people who believe in peace, who believe in the possibility of coexisting with the other side. No one was prepared to such a horrible scenario, which we had over than 150 terrorists inside the kibbutz, and no one could protect us. So unfortunately, most of them died during that Saturday.
Ai thot se ata nuk e kursyen askënd, as njerëzit e palëvizshëm e madje as kafshët.
They realized there is no one to stop them, so there were even Gaza citizens that just came to steal and to take hostages because they realized they're going to get money from the Hamas if they're going to kidnap Israeli citizens.
Moka tregon se si ishte vrarë një familje të cilën e njehte, ku gruaja ishte aktiviste që kishte ndihmuar palestinezët, ndërsa djali I saj ishte I paralizuar.
They used to live here. Tari wasn't healthy. A guy he was handling with like a muscle disease. He had his own therapist. His name was Paul. He was a Filipino guy, a foraging worker, who came to help them and live here with Tari and Lilach. Lilach, she was a true peacemaker. She used to fight for human rights, and help some Gaza citizens. She used to volunteer, and she used to go to the border and bring them here into Israel, so they can work and earn money and live a basic life and bring food for the families. And she did all of that for free. They were here on the same Saturday when the terrorists arrived. They didn't spare any one of them. They didn't spare Paul, who wasn't even Israeli or Jewish. They didn't spare Tari, and they saw how, and they saw his situation, his disability, and they didn't care about it. They just came with one goal, and their goal was to kill anyone and anything. And later on, just burned the house and moved on, basically.
Një rezervist I ushtrisë, I cili nuk dëshironte të identifikohej, që ishte thirrur në detyrë ditën e sulmit, rrëfen se si ishin kapur në befasi nga sulmi I Hamasit.
We landed October 6th in the afternoon in Israel, and already on October 7th, I woke up with I have a young daughter, she's 2 years old, and she woke me up, and out of habit, I looked at my phone to see just what's happening in the news, and I see massive attack against Israel. I run down to the base. Of course, everything is controlled chaos, I would say. Everyone's coming in, everyone's coming throughout the whole country. We have to return to our base. We spend a couple hours getting our equipment, and we didn't even have time, and for soldiers that would understand, we didn't even have time to zero in our weapons. That means to make sure our weapons where we fire shoots.
Sulmi planifikuar I Hamasit më 7 tetor nuk ishte I përqendruar vetëm në kibuce, por edhe ndaj njerëzve që po qarkullonin në magjistralen që lidh zonën me pjesën tjetër të vendit, e veçanërisht ndaj festivalit të muzikës Supernova, ku po merrnin pjesë mijëra të rinj. Festivali u kthye në një shfaqje horrori me pamje që bën bujë në rrjetet sociale. Ne arritëm të merrnim rrëfimet e 2 të rinjve që kishin përjetuar brutalitetin e asaj nate në festival.
I was in the music festival at Reim, and it was the last day of my summer break. I'm a student for biotechnology, and I thought maybe I'll have some fun on the last day of my summer break. So I went to this festival. She's my cousin. She was with me.
My cousin and I went there with different groups of people. We both went to the party, but it was a very big party. It was a rave, so like we went separately, and that's why we also survived separately.
We got a location about I think 9 p.m. So we saw where it's supposed to be. And we saw it was near Gaza Strip, and we had a little concerns about it, but it always in Israel it always dangerous. So we didn't thought something big is gonna happen. We thought the worst thing that could happen is a launch or two from the Gaza Strip of 1 or 2 missiles, and. So we drove there, and it was fun. We bought alcohol, we bought everything we need, and was amazing at first. The production and all the people, it was amazing. Everything was so happy and lovely, and everyone had so much fun to listen to the music.
And then they turned off the music, and they told everybody it's a 𝐫𝐤𝐤𝐷 𝐑𝐓𝐊. It's like a fire alarm. Yeah, and because it's so close to the border, we didn't even have the sirens. It was so close, no sirens. We just heard the bombs, and they turned off the music, and they told everybody to like lie down on the floor.
That's where the nightmare began. From this point off, everything could not got any worse than what happened. So I called my father. I told him I'm sorry that I went to this party. I'm sorry about the location. I'm sorry about everything. And you need to realize at the border of Gaza, when they launch a missile, you only have 10 seconds to run away. 7. And also, you don't have any bomb shelters around. Like, there's really few. And we didn't have nowhere to hide. We hearing about maybe 100 missiles and just the big bangs every around. So my friends called me. They told me to come to the place they were hiding, yes. And I went there, and we hid there about, I think, maybe 1 hour. At some point, we thought we'll go to the nearest bomb shelter, and we didn't find it. That was a good decision, because at the end, this bomb shelter was attacked by terrorists, and more than 100 people were dead from grenades and shootings. So we didn't find it, and then we thought we'll get the car from the parking to be near us in case of a terrorist attack, and we did it. And just when we got the car to the location where we were hidden at, that's where everything was starting to happen, and just we heard shootings from everywhere. We got sprayed with rifles, and just I think about 50 terrorists who was attacking us at this point, and they came to the location of the party and started shooting everywhere. They closed on us from all the ways, and everyone in this point, everyone was terrified. So everyone ran into different place. So I was separated from my friends. I was only with one of them, and two others were separated. And then me and my friend, we jumped into an ambulance. We saw people who was really injured from the shootings, and the ambulance got shot at, and the driver, he was really nervous because all the ambulance got shot. So we jumped from the ambulance, and we realized that we're about to be killed, because the terrorists really came to the party and started shooting everyone, and we didn't have any way to defend ourselves. So we kept running. We jumped into another van. The van also got shot at. Terrorists was just killing everyone. I saw things from the van that I never thought in my life I would see.
Michael Levi nga Tel Avivi na ka rrëfyer se si në sulmin ndaj festivalit Supernova, vëllau I tij or ishte rrëmbyer nga Hamasi, ndërsa gruaja e tij ishte vrarë.
He went to the Nova Festival with his wife Einar. They left their 2-year-old son Almog at home with his grandparents and headed to the party. They reached the party at 6:20 a.m., about 10 minutes before hell started there. They immediately texted us and told us that they are heading back. But then they had to stop next to the road and run into a bomb shelter because of the missile attack. From the bomb shelter, they all called my mother. He was terrified. My mother asked him, "Oh, what's going on? How are you? Is everything okay?" But the only thing he told her was, "Mom, you don't want to know what's going on here." He was completely terrified. About 10 minutes after this call, a group of terrorists arrived to this bomb shelter and started throwing grenades and shooting into this shelter, murdering Einav and 17 other people, and kidnapping all and 3 others. At first we didn't know what happened. They were missing for a few days. We only knew that all was kidnapped only 8 days after. In the meantime, I had to watch horrible videos. I saw videos of them inside the shelter before. I saw the terrorists coming and throwing the grenades.
Michael thot se tani prindrit e tij po kujdesen për fëmijën e qiftit, ndërsa na tregon disa video në telefonin e tij, të cilat shfaqin momentet e fundit të vëllaut përpara se të rëmbehej.
We heard about Einav's murder on the 4th day. So on Wednesday, the army came to her parents' house and told them that Einav was murdered. And only 4 days after, they came to my parents and told us that he was kidnapped. We don't know anything about his condition besides the fact that he's alive. They told us that they know. They couldn't tell us how and what exactly do they know, but we just know that he's alive, that he's probably okay, that he was kidnapped okay, with no serious injuries, but that's it. We all barely sleep, barely eat. My parents has to raise 𝐫𝐿mog, their son. He's calling for his mother and his father every day. He wants to go home. Just the other day, his kindergarten teacher spoke to another kid in the kindergarten and told him something about his father. And 𝐫𝐿mog just started crying and calling for his father, that he misses him. That's heartbreaking. He wants his parents back. His mom unfortunately won't come back, but we want his father back. Any government in the world should speak up and put pressure on Qatar, on Hamas, on every person who can help getting the hostages back.
Spitali rajonal 𝐫𝐥𝐤𝐸 u zunë në befasi nga fluksi I parit të plagosurve dhe me qenë se raketat fluturonin gjithandej, spitali u zhvendos nën tokë.
I showed up in the adult emergency room and already I saw dozens of people, Israeli civilians, lining up to donate blood, even though we weren't sure what was really going on. And the first helicopter came and I didn't know who was a civilian, who was a soldier. I saw Thai workers, I saw teenagers. Every time a helicopter came, it was another 10 people critically wounded, another group of victims with shrapnel. Everybody who was brought in a situation of personal chaos, even though there were so many patients coming in and we were churning through them quickly. What they had seen in the south was severely traumatizing.
Ndërsa drejtori I spitalit rajonal e krahason përvojën që kishte pasur me refugjatët nga Kosova me ngjarjet që ndodhen më 7 tetor.
I was in Kosovo leading the humanitarian delegation of Israel to Kosovo in April '99, and we've seen then a lot of refugees. A lot of those who were saved. The connection is, first of all, treating people in a war condition, seeing a lot of trauma scenes, and as we've seen in October the 7th here in Israel, we've seen a lot of trauma victims, a lot of casualties who were brought and evacuated to the hospital, civilians and soldiers as well. And we've seen an awful stories here in Israel because of the cruelty of the Hamas.
Një përvojë të ngjashme në Kosovë e kishte pasur edhe drejtori I Spitalit Kryesor të Izraelit.
Our level of even those that you know in the Balkans, in Kosovo, usually in wars, the numbers of people that need rehabilitation increase gradually. But this war, 5,000 people were injured in the first day, civilians and soldiers. So we had to absorb them, not only for medical care, but also to rehabilitation. So this is our second mission. We created new facility for that. The third is that we have to keep up with providing Israel with the medical care the nation needs. Otherwise, we cannot continue our lives here. So we do that also. And we went to Kosovo. There was a conflict there. I'm sure you know, remember, there were refugees that came from Kosovo to Macedonia, and we headed a medical unit in the Israeli Film Hospital, and NATO has asked us to deploy to assist the Kosovar refugees in Macedonia. So we landed, we took a plane, we were about 120 Israeli medical staff from Israel, from all disciplines, all wards, all specialties. We landed, we came very quickly. We landed in Macedonia, deployed in Brazda.
We're an international organization. We're recognized by the United Nations as a search and rescue organization. And we have been involved in search and rescue operations all around the world, in disasters from the United States to Turkey, earthquakes, building collapses, all sorts of disasters that occur. And our job, like I said, is primarily to recover. Sometimes we're involved in identification and burial of the deceased. 𝐫𝐭𝐤𝐤𝐸 immediately went into its deployment of volunteers in the south. Even the most veteran, seasoned volunteers, and again, we're people that deal on a daily basis for decades with tragedies and death. We're not prepared to see what we did on that day, on October 7th, and the aftermath of that. Both because of the scale of what happened, as well as the nature of what we saw.
Ndërsa lufta vazhdon, në Tel Aviv, familjarët e pengjeve kanë krijuar sheshin e pengjeve pranë muzeut të artit ku mblidhen çdo natë dhe bëjnë aktivitete që ata të mos harrohen dhe kërkojnë lirimin e tyre.
השארתי את אשתי, היינו גם עובד בחברה להגנת הטבע, ואת שני הילדים שלי, איתם ויאיר בן 9, החטופים, החיילים, הנעדרים, ברור. אנחנו, אני, כולנו.